Hi everyone. I'm sure everybody has a pantry full of potatoes, and sometimes these potatoes turn green and they come up with little fingers like these. And you wonder, what am I going to do with it? Some people would choose to put it in soil and grow out a second batch of potatoes. You totally can do that. But a little notice on whether or not you can eat a green potato. The advice is no, don't touch them because they actually can cause a lot of gastrointestinal issues. And if you eat too many of them, it could actually poison you to death. Because a little biology lesson here, potatoes belong in the same family as the nightshade family. That includes eggplants and tomatoes as well. And what it is that the green surface of a potato is because when a potato actually is exposed to light, chlorophyll forms on the surface of it. And what it is that there are two chemicals in particular that actually would turn it slightly poisonous. They are called the glycoalkaloids, solanine and chacolene. And if you eat too much of that, it not only just causes gastrointestinal problems, but you're actually poisoning yourself to death because everybody knows nightshade is poisonous, although you can take them in small doses and they used to be used in old-fashioned medicines. But anyway, enough about that. So what do we do with a potato that's turned green? Easy. Pop it in some soil. Let me show you what to do next. So to continue, there are different ways of doing this. You can plant it in the ground with soil, with well aerated soil. In other words, there's good drainage and whatnot, but you don't want it to be too wet or too moist because it actually causes the potato to rot faster and it may never grow. So my method, because I live in the city, and for the most part, there's very little space for you to actually grow plants. You want to use a grow bag. And this is my choice. And see, what you do is you fill a grow bag half full of soil. This is less than half, but it's okay. Because what happens is when the potatoes themselves start growing roots and start propagating potatoes, it pushes the soil upwards. So what it is that you want to initially start with a lower, like maybe about, I'd say 4 to 6 inches of soil and more, or maybe half a bag that you have. This is actually a 5-gallon grow bag that I'm using, and I filled it with some soil over here. What you do is fairly simple. And I'm going to show you like the stages because I started some potatoes about a month ago, and I'll show you how it is. But basically, you just take the potatoes, make sure you want to get the most area with the eyes popping up because the eyes actually will turn into potato shoots. And that's the part that will actually collect the sunlight and use the starch that is stored within the potato itself to propagate more potatoes down the line. So here's what you do. You just pop the potato in there, put it, make sure you center the eyes upwards so that you can see. And I'll show you the potatoes that I've already started about a month ago. See this? They've grown roots, and these are the shoots that are there. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to plant the root side downwards here. There are still shoots that are growing out, and there's this one over here that could actually propagate into leaves and use the storage that is within the potato itself. So I'm going to pop this in there. And here's another spot. You can see this one actually has little green leaves on the top here that's already been developed. I'm actually going to put this in this way because most of the shoots are propagating upwards this way. And I know there's some little roots here, but it's fine because we're going to end up covering these anyway. So I've already set my potatoes in there. If you can see it, the shoots are upwards and whatnot. So the next step is to actually cover these entirely. You want to cover the whole potato, but leave some of the shoots popping up so that they get an opportunity to grow. What you want to do is that you want to cover the whole entire potato, sorry, and make sure you don't leave anything. So I'm going to do that right now. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually making sure that I don't cover up the shoots as well, because those need to pop up and those need to be very prominent up on top of the soil, so they get the sunlight and all the good stuff that nurtures them. So over here, okay, I'm gonna you gotta make sure all your roots and the shoots are actually covered. The entire potato just needs to be below the surface of the soil so that it gives it a chance to grow also in darkness and light. It's a little hard to see, but I'll show you that here, over there, see the little shoots that are popping up, and my potato is entirely covered. There you go. It's already planted. And so I'm going to show you another bag that I actually started that has like little leaves growing up on it, onto that shortly. So this is my second grow bag, and as you can see, little leaves pop up. This one actually was started a little bit, just a few more days before the other bag did. But those were much bigger potatoes. These are actually from the tiny little red potatoes that you sometimes get in a bag. And you can see these are really well developed now. In a matter of months, when they start growing taller, I have to add soil to it so that it keeps growing. Like I said, the roots will keep pushing down on the soil so that they can develop into potatoes themselves down the line. Now, if you start a bag of potatoes now, don't expect to harvest it like in a matter of like 3 to 4 months. It takes longer than that. Sometimes it's ready to harvest late fall or early fall, depending on how tall your shoots grow. And the taller the plant, the more potatoes you get. I would say that, like, if you have a grow bag, usually it's easy to harvest because they have these flaps that you can just undo, and then you can just take the new potatoes in them. So with that being said, remember, the potatoes don't need so much water. They use very, very little water. I mean, usually just a sprinkle. Just make sure that the soil is dry to moist all the time. And you can leave them out in the open, and a fall of rain will be fine. But if you know that you're getting more than a week's worth of rain, you might want to take them in so that you don't have soggy potatoes and, you know, I'm sorry, not soggy, but rotten potatoes. So with that being said, maybe there'll be a second video as a follow-up, but I doubt very much right now. But that is the long and short of how you grow a potato that is turning green with little fingers popping up. Thanks for watching.